Hey guys, this is Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the blog Grupo Dicas, one of the biggest travel blogs in the world, and today I'm going to tell you how to save a lot on your trip to Buenos Aires and all of Argentina. How to really travel as cheap as possible there, guys. It's a very complete video, very cool tips with all the details, how to save on the lodging, on the plane tickets, on shopping, on foods, on the exchange rate. The exchange rate tip you'll be able to buy for real half the price exchange rate, saving half of the value on your trip. So it's a lot of good tips for you to really save money on everything, guys, everything at all. So don't forget to give us that like, subscribe to the channel, because that really helps us a lot. And let's go, buckle up. Well, Argentina is one of the most visited tourist destinations in South America, especially Buenos Aires. For many tourists, it's a destination that's very close. For people from Chile, South America, and other countries like the United States and Europe, the currency there is weak. They are living a difficult time, so in theory, their currency is weakened. But at the same time, they have absurdly high inflation, so it's not as cheap as it used to be to travel there, because the price of things is more expensive. But even so, it's still a cheap destination, and we'll give you all the tips to save a lot on everything, all the services, and of course with very good quality just for you. The first tip, the most important and the one that will make the most difference on your trip, it's the time of the year you're going to travel there. Argentina in July and August, it's snow season. Even a little bit in September, it gets very crowded. People want to go skiing, Bariloche, the city gets crowded, and people use Buenos Aires as a base. So Buenos Aires also gets very busy. And at the end of the year, which is summer, which are the holidays, December and January, the cities there are usually more crowded and everything is more expensive. And it's much more expensive because in high season you pay almost double what you would pay going in other seasons. So try to avoid these times. The middle of the year is the winter and the end of the year is the holidays. If you travel at another time, you will be able to save a lot and get everything cheaper. And now let's talk about the airline ticket, which is the first item that you have to hire to really make your trip come through. There are plenty of flights there. Buenos Aires has two airports, so searching both. One is closer, the other is a little further away, but either one is fine. Even the one that's a little further away, it's 40 minutes from downtown, so do a lot of research and you might be able to get a cheap flight. There are many flights going there from all the cities in the world. Flights are arriving all the time. Who is in Chile, for example, can even go by car because it's close, and who is in some other country as well. So there are many options. Search a lot. A tip: from Monday to Thursday, the flights tend to be cheaper, so try to avoid traveling on the weekend. If you can, you already save a little more. Search in all airlines. There is a very good website that we use to search. I'll leave this website here in the video description and in the first fixed comment that searches in all airlines. You put there your destination, your initial destination and your final destination, and it does a search in all airlines and shows you the cheapest options. Go search every day, that every now and then there is a promotion and you will get a good price for a good flight. Now let's talk about lodging, how to save a lot in a hotel. Bariloche is a little more complicated because it's smaller and has few options. It gets very crowded. Now Buenos Aires, you can save a lot. Buenos Aires has some areas. The area that I like the most and that I recommend the most to stay is in Recoleta. It's a very charming area, very beautiful and very close to downtown. You can be close to everything. The location is excellent, but it's a little bit more expensive than the center. So do some research. If you can get a good cheap hotel in Recoleta, I recommend you to stay there, even if it's a little bit more expensive than the center. But if your idea is to save as much as possible, you will see that downtown there are much cheaper options, sometimes much simpler. It's still a good location, it's just that the center it's a little more unsafe to walk around at night. I prefer the Recoleta area, but the center downtown is also a very good tourist area. Everybody visits there. It's just that we give a little bit of preference to the Recoleta, but I search because there are a lot of hotels. Buenos Aires has a lot of hotels, but they are cheaper downtown. And the golden tip to save money on lodging anywhere is to book in advance. The sooner you make a reservation, the cheaper you pay. It's the logic of the tourism market. So our tip, you already know that you're going to travel there, make a reservation. But Gabriel, I'm not sure if I'm really going. I don't want to close everything here. And comes a cool tip that we have been using for years, the one about free cancellation. There's a hotel website that's the largest in the world, you surely know it. It's the one we use to make reservations. And why? It has a very good negotiation with the hotels, almost all of them for free cancellation. So you go there, you see a good date for your trip, a good price, a good hotel, it's cheap, you make a reservation with free cancellation. If you need to cancel, change the date, the room, the hotel, whatever, it's just a click. There's no bureaucracy at all and you don't pay anything. So it's a tactic that we are adopting and that's saving money. You will see, book your hotel and after a month log in and check the same hotel. You will see that's already gone up 15 or 20%. The prices go up very fast. This website is very good. I'll leave here in the link, in the description and in the comments. A little map inside this website that we customize of the best area in Buenos Aires with the best hotels, the best rated, all ready for you to search and make your reservation. The hotel we stayed at in Recoleta is very good and very cheap. I'll leave it here below as well for you, all within this website. So you can use this tactic that saves you a lot of money. Now talking about the tours, the cool thing is that Buenos Aires is a place where you will spend little on the tours. There are cities that you visit that you have to buy tickets for museums, amusement parks, attractions, and it ends up making a trip a little more expensive. In Buenos Aires, the nice thing is that most of the attractions are open, so you can visit the Plaza de Mayo, see the Casa Rosada from the outside, walk through the parks. There are a lot of nice parks in Buenos Aires. There is the Lezama Park, the Centenary Park is very nice, the 3 de Febrero Park is also nice. The Japanese garden that's close by is a beautiful attraction. It's very cheap. We bought it there on the spot. I don't even remember how much it was. I think it ended up being $3 or $4. It was very cheap and it's a beautiful place. The Palermo neighborhood you visit and you also don't pay anything. Most of the attractions, the ones you have to pay for, are not expensive. There are some that of course you will have to buy the ticket just like everywhere else in the world. But another tip, when you go to buy before in your country. It's cheaper. You pay in your currency and you get there with the ticket ready, booked with a reliable company. There's a very good website that we use to buy tickets from Argentina, Chile, almost anywhere in the world. I'll leave it here below in the description of the video. It has all the tickets and tours, the ones that I think are cool. Even if you want to save a lot, at least do the boat tour on the Tiger River, which is very cool, very nice, and not that expensive. It's a worthwhile experience. If you like soccer, the Boca or River Stadium tour, Boca's was a little bit cooler, but both are nice. It's a tour that you end up paying for. It's a dinner with tango, which is a typical dance they have there, and it's definitely a very Argentinian experience. So these three I think you have to include. The rest you won't spend as much. Everything there is very cheap. And guys, if you have any travel questions, send them to us. We are always trying to help. We really try, even easier and faster. Add me on Instagram at @PaiLorenzi. Send me a direct message with your question and I'll help you. It's taking a few days because there are many messages, but I really help. And take the time to follow us there because we're always traveling around the world, giving the coolest travel tips and the family routine with our little ones, which are a blast, guys. And our new YouTube channel, Família Lorenzi, if you can, subscribe there, give us a hand. We are showing our routine here in Orlando. We are living in the United States, so we are showing the Disney parks, which is right next door, the other amusement parks, our routine here at home. It's pretty cool. Follow us there. I think you're gonna like it. The content is for everybody, for the whole family, so subscribe there. So let's go. The tips to save money are not over. There are still some cool tips. Food, if you are in the tourist areas next to a tourist attraction inside a mall, it's really more expensive. Restaurants are usually much more expensive. If you walk a little bit, about 3 or 4 blocks into the city, escaping these areas, you will find that you will eat in restaurants that are just as good and you will pay half the price. That's the price for Argentinians, because in the tourist areas they really raise the price. There is no way. So look for those restaurants a little further away, out of the places that you will see that you will really save on food. Food in Argentina is not expensive. You can get very nice restaurants and you don't pay as much as in other places in the world. So it's not a place where you spend a lot of money on food, and the food there is very good. Very important tip, travel insurance. After the pandemic, travel insurance there became mandatory. International travel insurance, we have always recommended it for anywhere in the world. Do not leave your country for a trip abroad without international travel insurance. Why? It covers you for any assistance, hospitalization, medical consultation that sometimes is a fortune abroad for a very low price. Guys, travel insurance is really cheap, so get yours. Now it's mandatory for Argentina, so I'll leave here below our website that we use. That is a comparator. It's an amazing tool that in 10 seconds compare the price of travel insurance in all the biggest and best insurance companies in the market and shows you the lowest prices, the best ones. Check it out. We have been using this website for years. It's the cheapest place by far, and it's reliable. The chat is very fast. You can ask questions, ask how the restrictions are, what insurance you need to take out. They really help you, so check it out. It's the cheapest place of all. You will pay very cheaply for your travel insurance. The last one we saw was $2 a day, a good travel insurance with all the covers necessary, so you spend very little money for a huge amount of coverage. Talking about transportation, in Buenos Aires you don't need to rent a car. Cities like Mendoza, which is a beautiful city, it's worth it for you to explore, to go to the wineries. The car is very useful, but Elogia sometimes people rent them too, but Buenos Aires is not necessary. It's even kinda hard to go there, to park the car. The Uber works very well there, we liked it very much, the prices are very good, and in the last case you have taxis. There is public transportation, buses, subways. If you want, you can get around with public transportation. But in our opinion, if you're going to stay a few days, if you're only on tourism, if you are on vacation, spend a little bit more and take an Uber, because then you don't have the problem of getting lost, getting the wrong station. In the bus, it's a little bit hot, a little bit cramped. For everyday life, it's okay, it's no problem to use it, but as you will be on vacation, enjoying yourself a little bit, you will see that you don't spend much more. Sometimes it's even the same price if you split it between 2 or 3 people. Take the Uber, that Uber as well. Another cool tip is the chip. To use your cell phone abroad, you usually need to activate international roaming with your country's carrier. This is usually the most expensive option. Some operators offer a nice package, a promotion, check it out beforehand, but usually roaming is much more expensive, so people buy a prepaid chip to use in the place where you will travel. In this case, Argentina, you have 2 options. One is that you can buy the chip there, and when you get there, you go to a store and buy it. It's the option that's a little bit cheaper. It's really cheaper, but in our opinion, from our experience, we didn't like it very much because you have to go to the place. We spent Uber to go to the store that we had seen that was there in the mall. Then you have to communicate in Spanish, buy, configure. The internet failed for 2 or 3 days. We paid cheaper, but it was not such a good experience. We spent about 2 hours of the day to go, wait, be served, configure, install, and I think that the time of the trip is a sacred time. You are already paying so much for the trip that any hour saved makes a difference. So what we prefer is to buy the chip before we leave our country. There's a very good company that you buy it from, and they deliver it to you very quickly. They are very good. When you arrive in Argentina, you already have internet and you can use it when you need it. I'll leave the link below as well. Take a look, check the prices. They are very good. The service is good. Talk to them on the chat. They give you any support. It's very nice. And there's already the eSIM chip, which is the electronic chip. If the cell phone is one of the newest in the market, you don't even need a physical chip. They send you a QR code by email. You install it and use the internet easily. The internet there really makes a difference, and you will use it a lot during your trip. Nowadays, it's mandatory. And now we're gonna give you a tip on the exchange rate. This is the tip that you will use, and Argentina is different from the whole world. So let's go. Guys, we have already given several tips to save money during your trip. We just made a video about how to travel very cheaply to Argentina. Watch it later. These are all the tips you need to save money on everything: lodging, tickets, travel insurance, cell phone, chips, food. But this tip of the exchange rate for Argentina, I think it's the tip that will make you save more on your trip. So stay tuned. It's a very cool tip and it really works, guys. I promise you it works. Argentina is different from everywhere else in the world. This exchange rate tip is an exception. We always say to buy beforehand, to go with the country's money. You will travel more relaxed, more comfortable. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. Now, for Argentina, I'll summarize it quickly how as not to get too bogged down here. The Argentinians love the dollars. They save in dollars, they keep dollars, and the Argentine government tries to weaken this by trying to discourage the dollar, to weaken the dollar, to strengthen the Argentinian peso. They don't have much success with this, so what happens? They advertise an official dollar exchange rate that's not true. The official exchange rate of the Argentinian peso is kind of fake in quotation marks. It's their official exchange rate. For example, I'll give you an example here. I'll give you an example in dollars, but it applies to any currency. It works in the same proportion. $1 today, it's worth 140 Argentinian pesos. This is the official exchange rate. If you go to a currency exchange office, you will find this value. If you use a prepaid credit card there, this will be more or less the rate usage. $1, it's equivalent to 140 pesos, right? Now, there's a currency exchange there which is called Cambio Paralelo. It's called blue. If you go to see the blue Argentine peso, the rate here is giving $1 is worth 289 Argentine peso. It's more than double. This is crazy what's happening. Everybody's giving this tip because it's really a tip that makes you save a lot. So use the parallel exchange. It's not illegal. It's because people see the value of the dollar different from what the government shows. So it ends up having this absurd and blatant difference. So how do you get this parallel exchange, the blue exchange? There are two ways. We prefer the second one. The first is to go to an informal exchange house called Cuevas. The Cuevas on Florida Street, which is a very famous street, Florida Street. There are many. You will see when you go there on the street, you will see that they are talking, exchanging, cambio, blue. They will take you to a place. It looks like a movie. They go into a very formal office. Sometimes it's a little scary, but it's kind of common there. And sometimes the official rate is on the door, but inside they give you the blue rate, and you can exchange it with you either dollars or whatever currency you want. You get the Argentinian peso with a much better rate. It's double. So with this option you save a lot more, but this is an informal way. We don't recommend it. Sometimes you can be scammed with counterfeit bills. There are a few drawbacks. There's a sensational tip. Nobody understands why, but there is Western Union. It's a very good company. It's international. They have them everywhere in the world, and they offer the following service. You pay in your country an amount, a value, for example, $500. And then you send it to another country, you send it to Argentina in Argentine pesos, and then you get there, you go to a Western Union store which has several stores, and you get your money there at the counter. But what happens is that they are using the peso, the parallel dollar, the blue, so everybody's using this tip because it's a trustworthy company. The bills are official, you will hardly have problems. So this is our tip. Do some research, use the Western Union, they are very good, they are reliable. In other places we don't recommend so much because it makes no difference, but for Argentina it's very worthwhile. You will get a rate that's half. If you're going to spend $1,000 of money on your trip, you are going to spend $500. That's a lot of difference. That will make you save a lot. And people, here below I'll leave all these links. It's a guide for you to plan your trip, spending as little as possible, guys, that we have been discovering there over time, which are the cheapest for each type of service, guys. So save this video, share it. You can plan your whole trip with it. Every information you need is going to be down below. You can use all the links that we always use on your trips. You can really save a lot of money. You can save the video, share with the people who are going with you, and I'm sure you're not going to regret it. And here below, people, I'll leave all the links. It's a guide for you to plan your whole trip, spending as little as possible in the places that we discovered over time, which are the cheapest for each type of service. So save this video, share it, and you can plan your whole trip with it without any problem and with the best service. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps us a lot. And be sure to watch the other videos that are very good. I'll leave here below the playlist with all the other videos from Argentina for you to watch. So thank you very much, guys, and have a nice trip.